All right, so client-side attacks. Now, client-side attacks will happen against the client, which is technically you. So your computer and your browser, the web application that you would install on your phone or on your computer, that's the client, and you're going to be attacked as the client, hence the name client-side attacks. Now, there's a server-side attack, which we'll get into in the next section, and that has nothing to do with this particular section because your obligation in this particular piece is to secure yourself and secure your best practices for being able to access a website and access a web application, so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Now, this is still a part of the detecting web attacks room that is a part of the web security monitoring module inside of the SOC Level 1 pathway of TryHackMe. So if you're just joining us, that's exactly where we are, and we're using the lecture materials from TryHackMe. So client-side attacks rely on abusing weaknesses in the user's behavior or on the user's device. These attacks often exploit vulnerabilities in browsers or trick the user into performing unsafe actions to gain access to accounts and steal sensitive information. So a lot of this stuff, again, falls on the user. So data can be stored on the user's device, and if a successful client-side attack is executed, then there's data lost, data stolen. Somebody can rob you of money, quite literally. So there are so many things that can be done in addition to data loss. And so with the demand for dynamic and versatile web applications, companies are integrating more third-party plugins. Very, very important concept to understand because this ties back to the whole idea of dependencies and making sure that the dependencies that we use in our web applications or in our company, whatever, they're all secure as well. Because if they're not, it broadens the attack surface and opening more opportunities for client-side attacks. In the Security Plus, the CompTIA Security Plus training series that I put on this channel, we talk about a lot of case studies for companies, like really big companies, that were hacked because the third-party services that they were using, the vendors, the supply chain vendors that they were using weren't secure. And so through that hack, where they were able to attack the third party, they were then able to attack the bigger company. So imagine browsing your favorite e-commerce site, clicking on an image of a product that you're interested in, and unbeknownst to you, an attacker has a hidden, malicious, invisible window inside the page that loads another site in the background, and this hidden site runs malicious code that steals your login session cookies. And nothing seems out of the ordinary for you because you can still do everything you were doing on the site, but now the attacker is able to impersonate you and access your account. And if it's an e-commerce site, that means your payment information is probably on that site, or you're going to enter it to that site so they can steal your payment information, then steal your money. You see how that works? So the limitations for the Security Operations Center are actually, unfortunately, a lot. So the tools that are available to us as analysts, like the server-side logs and network traffic captures, offer little to no visibility into what occurs inside a user's browser because, again, we're talking about the client-side attack where the user is being attacked, not our servers, right? So the client-side attack occurs on the user system, meaning they can execute malicious code, steal information, manipulate environment without generating suspicious HTTP requests or network traffic that we can see, right? Because we see the logs that are done on our website, on the web application, on the web server. So that's all the stuff that we see. We don't see the logs that happen on the client side because that's on their computer, right? So my computer right now has its own logs. Your computer will have its own logs. Your phone will have its own logs. However, nobody in the Security Operations Center is going to see any of those logs because they are ours, and it would technically be an invasion of our privacy, but also as an extension of that, they won't be able to see when we're being hacked and they can't secure us. So detecting these attacks from a SOC perspective is often difficult or even impossible without additional browser-side security controls or endpoint monitoring, and this is much easier to do if it's in an environment for a company because you're technically required to actually have endpoint monitoring taking place all the time. So that's a little bit easier if you're in a company, but if you're a service provider and you have a website and your customers are just consumers across the world, you really can't do anything other than offer browser-side security. So it's very, very important to understand this. So here's what the scenario itself actually looks like, right? So this is on the user side. This is on the security operations side. So on the security operations side, what's visible to us in the security operations center is the web application firewall logs, the web server logs, the HTTP logs, whatever, the things that we actually have access to. On the user side is where the attack is taking place, and the attacker is actually doing something directly inside of the browser, and then they'll use that to steal the data from the user, to steal their credentials, payment card information, whatever it is. So it's happening on the user side. And again, if this person is a consumer that is using your company's services through a web application or a website, then it's very hard for us on our side, on the defensive security side, to protect them, with the exception of having some browser-based security mechanisms. So here are some of the common client-side attacks. And this is actually stuff that is also covered inside of the OWASP top 10 list. So for example, cross-site scripting, also known as XSS, which is what you'll see in the CYSA examination, for example. They're not going to say cross-site scripting. They're just going to say XSS attack. And it's the most common client-side attack, in which the malicious script are run in a trusted website and executed in the user's browser. If the website has a comment box that doesn't filter input, an attacker could post a comment like hello script, etc. script. And so this is a very important piece, because the hello part is just plain text, but then this is literally script, it's JavaScript, right? And so they embed that script inside of a comment portion on the website. So let's say you have a blog and you allow people to post comments, and then they go ahead and they post something like this. And then when visitors load the page, the script will run in their browser because it's in the comments section. And then the pop-up appears. And in a real attack, instead of a harmless pop-up, the attacker could steal cookies or session data. So this is a very harmless pop-up. It literally just says, hey, you have been hacked, right? It just pops up onto the screen, hello, you've been hacked, right? But in a real situation, it won't mention anything like this, because you don't want to warn the user. You just want to steal their cookies or their session data so you can actually impersonate them, steal their credentials, etc. The next one is cross-site request forgery, and the browser is tricked into sending unauthorized requests on behalf of the trusted user. And then there's clickjacking, where the attacker overlays invisible elements on top of legitimate content, making users believe that they're interacting with something safe. So if I click on this, for example, instead of it just loading this little pop-up that we have over here, it's actually going to do something malicious. Or if it's really good, it'll still load this pop-up, but then the malicious thing is going to be done in the background, and then we don't even know what's happening to us, and we're being robbed, and we're being watched, and etc., etc., etc. So these are the most common types of client-side attacks that will take place in a security environment, and we just need to rest assured, or I should say we need to ensure that we don't leave our users vulnerable to something like this, because most users in the consumer world are not aware of security best practices. They don't know what's going on. And so if we're the website owner, or if we're the web application owner, we have to account for this kind of stuff and constantly be scanning our website for these types of vulnerabilities, or somebody having tampered with our website, to make sure that they don't actually take advantage of our users. So it's very, very important. So what class of attacks relies on the exploiting of the user's behavior or their device? And this would technically be done. Oh, my keyboard is dying here. Not dying, but I guess it fell asleep. So for the exploiting of the user's behavior or their device, I would say it's a client-side attack, right? So what would it be called? I think it is client-side, honestly. So let's see if that's the actual answer itself. If not, it might be something else, but I think it is client-side. Yeah, client-side attack. There we go. What is the most common client-side attack? And that would be XSS, cross-site scripting. Very good. Let's talk about server-side attacks.